Eryka, today we're going to talk about central banks and Jerome Powell's recent comments that he made about Bitcoin and CBDCs. What do you have to
Yeah,
say about that?
well, we're really in an interesting time in the entire global economy, and it kind of surprises me when he's commenting about a new financial system when you consider the state of the current financial system. Sometimes there is a huge disconnect between government and what's actually happening in the world. Interestingly enough, Janet Yellen said recently that she doesn't see anything too irregular in the markets, which is pretty interesting. I mean, we have historic inflation in the United States. Mortgage rates are nearing 7%. Bonds are pretty volatile, and bonds are supposed to be the safe government asset. So it's interesting that he's commenting on cryptocurrency, but pretty much he had three main points that he talked about. The first was decentralized finance lacks transparency, which I do kind of agree with him. There are some places that it could be improved, but DeFi is much more transparent than the current financial system. Number two, that we need more regulation. I think that, regulation is going to come whether people want it or not. A lot of people do ask for regulatory clarity, which I think would be something that is good for the market. But it's open source code. It's going to be hard for them to control, but hopefully whoever does create these laws does it in a crypto friendly way. And I know a couple lobbying organizations that are making sure that the input of the people are in these laws that are created. And the third point that he talked about is CBDCs. So we've talked about CBDCs before, but CBDCs not being anonymous. That is pretty much a given. We know that CBDCs are not going to be anonymous like Bitcoin are, but it kind of makes you ask the question is why can't we have a level of anonymity to the way that we spend our money?
Eryka, you mentioned there's nothing, Janet Yellen said, there's nothing unusual about what is going on in the market these days. And, we hear things from Kamala Harris where, oh, there's 0% inflation. What else are people in the news or the market saying about these type of comments?
Well, interestingly enough, the New York Times came out with a headline, and the headline reads, "Currencies around the world are tumbling except Bitcoin. The cryptocurrency has risen 6.5% over the past 7 days, bucking the trend as a strong dollar sinks other currencies." I mean, we are seeing things like the British pound has been the lowest it's ever been in 20 years. And now here comes the New York Times actually with a pro-Bitcoin article. Normally they are not a pro-Bitcoin publication, but it's, you can't ignore it. The fact that the NASDAQ is down nearly 10%, tech-heavy stocks are also severely down, and Bitcoin is not as volatile in comparison to some of these other currencies right now.